Alright guys, I want to come back to you today to talk a little bit about building a different kind of fire. And this particular fire is commonly referred to as a Swedish Torch. But being in North Carolina, I've renamed it and I'm going to call it the Carolina Candle. And basically what it is using a single log, quartering it up, and then putting it back together in your fire ring and putting your fuel on the inside of that so that when it catches fire, it burns straight up the middle and puts the heat on the bottom of a pan so you can very quickly boil some water or cook your meal. Then when you're through with it, it's easy to disassemble and put out, or you can just knock it down and add some more wood and then have you a fire for warmth later on. So works a couple of different ways. So as you can see, I've got a single piece of wood. Normally you want to find something that's round. This one is already basically quartered, but all of the round pieces I found were already too far rotten to cut and keep them together. So I've got this one started, and so I'm going to go ahead and cut this piece in half, and then I'm going to come to the other side and try to again half that. Whoops, you don't want to get it too thin. So there's a method called a contact method where you can put your axe in contact with the wood you want to cut, and you lift the wood and the axe at the same time, contacting your chopping block, and then that way I was able to cut that one in half. And so now I'm going to cut my other piece in half using the same contact method. So I'm going to put the axe in contact where I want it to cut, and then I'm going to lift them both, bring them down together until they contact the chopping block. And then as my axe begins to go through, I'm obviously going to move my hand because I don't want it coming all the way through and cutting me. So I've run into a problem here. And what happened is part of this was rotten too. This broke off. I think I can still salvage this. So what I want to do is come in and cut it crossway. With the grain running in a different direction. And I keep having the same problem. I had this problem with some other wood I was using. So I'm going to come back on the top again. Try one more time. So that didn't work so well. But we're still going to try to make this work. And you know, sometimes you just have to adapt. So I'm going to get that old punky wood out of there, because that probably won't burn too well. And what I'm going to try to do, making a three-sided candle. It will go together just like this, and then my other fuel wood is going to go in the center, and you'll see that when we get to the fire ring. So, okay, we're here at the fire ring now, and I've taken the 3/3 of that log that I was able to finally get cut in pieces, and I've put it in the fire ring, and you can see how I've arranged that. Kind of a three-sided circle, but you can see that there's space in between here where I'll put my kindling and my fuel wood, and I'll be able to set my pot right on top on the flat part and be able to boil water with that. And as that kindling and tinder and a little bit of fuel wood that's in the middle continues to burn up, it'll be getting oxygen in from the three sides, which will be helping it to produce a bigger flame and be able to boil that water. And then once the water's boiled, I can just knock this down into a pile and start adding more wood to have a good fire to last me the rest of the night. So now I'm gonna go out and collect the tinder and kindling and come back, and I'll show you how I've got it laid, and then we'll light it up and see if we can boil some water. So I've got everything put together now, and you can see that my three main pieces of the log are there. And then what I've done Just gone in here and started with some different size fuel all the way from the top to the bottom. And so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be setting my pot right here on the top and lighting the fire, boiling a little bit of water, and going to make me a cup of coffee. So let's go ahead and see how this works out. All right, so I'm ready to light my fire, get my candle going, and see how well it works. So what I like to do is kind of get it lit on both sides. If I had 4 pieces of wood, it would work a little better. But you can see the fire is started. I got my water on there. So you can see the fire is climbing up. I used this little fire bellows that I purchased online. All it is a piece of telescoping tube that's hollow, and you don't have to get as close to the fire when you are trying to blow it into flame. So you can see my flames coming up. They're reaching my pan now. Got to be careful on this because it's a little precarious the way it's setting. I don't want it to dump boiling water out on me, so a little water starting to condense on the outside, so I can tell that the water inside is beginning to get heated up. And while that's going, while I've got my water starting to heat there, what I'm going to do is take my coffee cup, my Kupsa, nice little Kupsa that I have here. I purchased that one. And I got a little coffee single bag here. And I'm counting on having me a cup of coffee out of this. Got my coffee bag in there, and you can see how compact this fire is. Everything just staying right in the middle. Yeah, I'm starting to see bubbles in the bottom of the pan there. That's good. And of course, if you're going to spend much time outdoor, you need to make sure you keep your a bandana good, close and handy, because even though this handle doesn't get warm, you want to be able to have something to grab it with if it did. So the heat's coming on up. I've got bubbles forming inside my water, so just so we can get you a little bit closer here, you can see how the fire is coming up in the middle and going straight to the bottom of my pot. So all the heat is going right there. All right, so the fire's still going, and I've got water in the pot that's almost to come to a boil. Most of the little wood on the inside has actually ignited, and so I'm still getting all that heat right on the very bottom of my pot. And of course, you know, for coffee, the water doesn't have to be absolutely boiling. It can just be really good and warm. So I'm keeping a good eye on this right now just to make sure, and you can see the flames really getting up there now. I don't want my outside pieces to fall apart and spill my water. So I'm gonna go ahead and check the water, see if it's ready. And if so, I'm gonna go ahead and have me a cup of coffee. All right, my water's now boiling. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my pot off the fire and pour my water in here into my coffee. Whoa. And I'm gonna set the pot off because I don't need any more water. But you can see I had plenty of water in there. And it is boiling hot water now. So I'll just set that aside. And you can see now the fire, how it's still going strong. And so, as I said before, when you get through with this fire, all you got to do, if you wanted to continue to build this fire up, is push it over onto itself, and then just start adding more wood to the fire, and then you'd have a nice little warm fire to stay warm around for the rest of the evening. So that is the Swedish Torch, or as I said before, I like to call it the Carolina Candle. And this is my cup of coffee. I'm just going to throw the tea bag or the coffee bag in there to burn down. I've got me a nice cup of coffee, and so and it is hot, very hot coffee. And so I'm going to enjoy my cup of coffee while I let the rest of this fire burn down. And so if you're ever in need of a just really quick cooking fire, the Carolina Candle is a good way to do that. And until next time, walk worthy.